this.
Are we supposed to put all our emails on here?
You don't. We have your info. We know we can torture you day and night if we want to.
Do it anyway.
All right. So so welcome you guys to the informational meeting about hiking Mount Washington this year. It is a trip that I have run since 2009. And I am very heavily involved with an organization also called the Mount Washington Weather Observatory. And they run an event called Seek the Peak. And that's why I kind of have always called it this. But you do not have to participate in that event to climb the mountain at all. But I'm still going to lobby for it and tell you all about it. So my first time at Mount Washington, I knew nothing. I didn't have a clue. I went with a handful of people who had equal lack of experience, and it was a butt kicking day. And I said to myself, nope, I'm coming back next year and I'm going to be better at this than now that I know what I know and everything. And it's just sort of evolved over the years that I have been up and down it 10 times, kind of like doing this trip. I've been up it from the west side, the east side, all the trails and around Tuckerman's Ravine and stuff. So I don't consider myself an expert. I just have a little bit of experience. So I feel okay to, you know, kind of tell you what's going on. And because we've run this lately, to tell you the truth, the last 5 years, it's gotten really popular where you might see on the meetup list, there's like 57 people signed up. Like, what is that? You know, and we are still dealing with COVID, but this hike doesn't run like one that I would run around here. Whereas I'm always advocating, I'm saying, you know, you signed up as a group, we don't lose anybody, whatever. On Mount Washington, it's kind of your own day and you're going to hike your hike. If that means you're by yourself, maybe. If you've met up with people on training hikes and you guys are kind of bonded over the misery, then, you know, you make a pact like we're hiking this together. So it's kind of an organic thing that just sort of happens. But we try to start out at the same time. And then this year, we do have a meeting place for Saturday night for everybody to gather, to like celebrate everybody's successes, where in the past, it's kind of been willy-nilly. It's kind of been like, great, that was fun, see ya. We're a little more organized this year. So usually what happens through the training hikes is that you make new friends, you meet people with common goals, and you get like in like pretty good shape if you come to most of them. I can guarantee that because I know what I look like in August 1st. So it's the training stuff is definitely worthwhile. So let me get into the information. Like I said, if you already looked at my little PowerPoint with the mountains on it and stuff, you didn't like miss anything or like do you know, like jump ahead or anything like that. All right. So now I gotta find. Hold on. This was my deal last time. All right. Find this. Not from Dropbox. Not from my Google Drive. Okay, hold on. You guys just hold there for a second. Just hold on. Hold on. No, I did this last time. I couldn't open my own darn PowerPoint that I had built. All right, let's go here. And then we'll go here. It's just because, you know, since we have to do this in googly land, it's much more fun to have like pictures. So it makes the story better. All right, so if I maximize that, and then I want to share my screen, there we go. There you are. Okay, so question then is, can folks see?
Yep.
You got this bad boy here. Okay, so I'm a goober. I leave all the slides on the left-hand side because I don't remember what order they're in or what's the next thing is I'm going to talk about. So the hike this year is Saturday, July 17th, 2021. And the picture on the right is the last time I got harassed into hiking it in 2017. And we have gotten to the top of Tuckerman's Ravine. And then if you turned around, the picture on the left is the view to the summit. And that little red thing at the top is one of the antennas that you see, that for some reason, the distance from here to that antenna is 0.5, half mile, right? How hard could that be? Those damn antennas don't ever get bigger, closer. It's evil. So from the east side of the mountain, this was called the Boulder Field. And it's basically what it looks like. And there are cairns, so piles of rock that kind of lead you on your way. There, generally up there are no trailblazes as far as how you find your way. So, I mean, beautiful place to go, tons of fun. So first thing, not thinking anybody's a goober, but let's look at where we're going, because I've had people that didn't even know where New Hampshire was. So showing you Connecticut, and then going up into New Hampshire. And then if you move over to the green map, you can see where Mount Washington is and that whole giant ridge of mountains. And most of the mountains there are going to be part of what's called the 4,000 footers. So they are mountains that go over 4,000 feet. That's a whole separate thing I'll talk about in a minute.
Right.
With Mount Washington being the tallest at 6,288 feet. So it is about a 5-hour drive from Hartford. And I always recommend, unless you're some crazy, I don't even know what, that you go up the night before. So that's why you'll see the dates on things will say arrival on the 16th, hike on the 17th. And then most people who have hiked it will tell you, you might as well just stay Saturday night as opposed to jumping in the car and driving home. Because unless you have like a whole yoga workout when you're done, it might be a painful stop at whatever rest stop you try to get off at. So most of us, when we've gone up in the last couple of years, we not only make a weekend of it. I know last year a couple of the guys stayed extra, like 3 more days the next week. Some other people came up the week before and went on some adventures. So you're certainly free to do that. And if there's things you would like to know about doing that or what else to go do, more than happy to share that with you. Now this year, what we're going to do, we usually hike from the east side of the mountain up what's called Tuckerman's Ravine. And Tuckerman's Ravine is this big bowl, okay? And if you look at the map, if you can see it, Tuckerman's Ravine is on the map that's on the right-hand side, and it looks like a horseshoe, like a really, really tight horseshoe. And it's wicked steep. It's what happens from that side of the mountain is you go up 4,000 feet in 4 miles. So 1,000 feet a mile is a lot. That's like steep, steep, steep. So I'll explain to you why we made the change. At the bottom of Tuckerman's Ravine is what's called Pinkham Notch. And there is Joe Dodge Lodge, and it is an AMC hut lodge. And what happened last year was obviously almost everything closed. And they did leave that open, but there wasn't a lot of resources. So last year we moved everything to the west side of the mountain, because when you go up Route 16, you're in North Conway, which is all kinds of shopping and restaurants and beer and outlet stores and whatnot. And then you turn off on Route 16 to head up. And after you've left the Dairy Queen, there's pretty much nothing to get up to Pinkham Notch. And then on the other side of it, your northern point is Gorham. So you're kind of stranded in the middle. So if I told you guys, nope, everybody sign up for Pinkham Notch, because this is where the Seek the Peak event usually runs out of, and it closes, we're in trouble. So we're going to be proactive. And I just made the decision that This year, it's not even a question. We're going to hike from the west side, and that's the map that is on the left-hand side. And it basically, the hike is going to start and come back to the Cog Railway. Very picturesque, very lovely. And we're going to go up the Ammonoosuc Ravine Trail to Lake of the Clouds Hut. Then it's another 1.5 miles when you summit Washington. And then we're going to go down the Jewel Trail. And they basically, you go back where you came from. Now, the ending point will end up being a little bit of a road walk. Little bit. Not too bad, though. And I know in some of the media that I gave you guys, and this I thought was an awesome question. One of the things I had given you was just the stats. This was something from All Trails that I grabbed that told you that it was 8 miles, 3,500 feet. It was a map, but then it also said 5 hours. And somebody wrote to me and said, are we expected to do this whole thing in 5 hours? And I said, oops. I said, honestly, I don't know who posted this, but it had good stats and the map was really good. But I always tell everybody it's legitimately an 8-hour day. It's legit, because this is like 4.5 up and 4.5 down. So you just count on it being a whole day event. It's going to take up the whole thing. All right. Now, when we've hiked before from the other side is where the auto road is. And on the auto road are these wonderful vans that you can buy seats on that will drive you back to Pinkham Notch. Well, we haven't gotten word that those are running, and we're not going to be over there anyway, so it doesn't matter. So our initial fear that somebody brought up was, oh my gosh, what if you get to the top and you're like, I do not want to hike down? Well, maybe you don't want to go back down. You can buy a ticket on the Cog Railway. Now, I do not know the exact logistics to doing this. I know we had somebody on last time who did buy a ticket, and as she was climbing, she was online with the ticket office buying a ticket. So I don't know how far in advance you need to do this. The website is there. I would just get on the website or call them, and because they do this all the time, they pick hikers up all the time. And matter of fact, the one woman who was telling the story, she didn't get a seat. She actually had to sit on the back of the train and ride down because it was so full. So what happens with the Cog Railway is when you're a tourist, you're a civilian, you buy a round trip ticket and you get to go up, and then you have a window to come back down. It's not like you go up and down. The trains run back and forth all day long. So I'm not sure how to buy the ticket. That's the only thing. But I would recommend, if you're even thinking, I don't know how I'm going to feel about going back down that crazy Boulder Field thing I showed you, find out sooner than later. And if you know and you want to share with me what the scoop is, that's cool. I'm like 1,000% on the vans. I know how to negotiate the vans because I've ridden them down before. But the train, I'm sketchy. All right. Now, this year, like I said, because we're a little bit more organized, what we're going to do is we're going to stay, or Saturday night's event is going to be at this place, the New England Inn. And Colleen and I stayed here last year. Liz came to visit. We had a couple other friends stay, and it's a really cool place. And there's also a restaurant there called Tuckerman's. And last year when we were there, they had music outdoors. You couldn't take the beer out of the little fenced-in garden, but everybody got takeout food from the restaurant, and it's all within walking distance. So the way that this place is set up is there's like, I don't know if I call them cabins, because cabins, I think of everything being very woody and stuff. They were much more modern than that, but there's all these outbuildings. There is a swimming pool. And then across the street is another establishment that also rooms could be rented in. And this place, what I realize is I can't click on this link and show it to you, but when I send you the info, you can. Basically, this is the Google map for this establishment. And if you zoom out, it shows you other hotels. So about 2 minutes north is a place called the Swiss Chalet. And about 5 minutes south is a place called the Starlight, which we've also stayed at. See, because the big thing up in New Hampshire is you want to stay at the local places, and the local places are not on bookings.com, hotels.com, and most of them don't like dealing with the third-party people, and they'll make it very hard for you to cancel if we have to cancel. So you're much better calling them directly, getting right on their website and dealing with them directly when you go to make reservations to stay for the weekend. But like I said, this place is, it was just super fun and comfortable. What we'll probably do is bring up extra tables. We'll tell everybody to bring chairs, and you can bring food. You got to bring your own beer. And we'll hang out Saturday night. Now, I can't tell you right now what the scoop is with what availability is, but because I kind of overplan things, I might have a couple of rooms in a couple of different hotels available, but I'm not going to release them or talk about it until like end of June or something. Until just about I have to cancel them, I might make them available to people like latecomers or people like, I don't know. And, just let you know that there's lodging available. But like I said, I will hold back on those right now. Alrighty. So equipment for this little saunter up the hill. One thing that I recommend is, well, everything that's on this list. And it's because the weather up there changes quickly. I have done events up there, 80, that you hear, if you've heard the stories, it's 85 in the valley, you're in shorts and a t-shirt. And as you climb higher and higher and higher, some weather system comes in. I have been on this range in July when it has snowed. So we bring everything. We bring, like, you're staying out there it seems like you're staying out there for a year, but you're not. So definitely 2 liters of water. And I'm going to talk about refilling stuff in a minute. 2,000 or more calories of food, because you're just not going to realize how much energy you're expelling. Raincoats, rain pants. For sure. The wind up there is wicked. And if you've been sweaty and on the trail and everything, even just putting on raincoats and pants is going to cut down the wind and keep your heat in. And then the one thing I always recommend is don't buy a $20 raincoat. Spend a little bit more money and find the ones that have zippers in the armpits, okay? Because what they do is they vent out moisture and they vent out heat. And those coats are going to cost you more like $60, $70, $80. A fleece top in case it gets cold up there. Definitely extra shirt, socks. If you want to go crazy and bring a whole new outfit, you might want to, because if you're all sweaty and you get to the top, it feels really, sorry, gentlemen, anybody who's on there, but dry underwear like rules the world. So if you want to bring a whole brand new outfit, do it. A pack cover. So a pack cover is a nylon gizmo that once you buy a better backpack, make sure it comes with one. But you can also buy them separately. And basically, it's just a crazy piece of nylon that goes over your pack in case it rains up there, okay? So the ones that you want to make sure that you get, they're going to have, like, basically it looks like a big bag with a drawstring. And you also want one that's got Velcro so that you can Velcro it to your pack. So in case you catch some weird wind and it goes to blow it off, you don't lose the pack cover. It's Velcroed. It's just not stuck to the pack anymore. So you definitely want a pack cover in case the weather goes south on us. Money and identification. Money mostly because if they decide to open the Summit Lodge this year, they always have really good like chili and hot dogs and stuff and donuts. I'm just saying. Ice cream. I'm always up there and there's little kids in flip-flops that got out of a car eating ice cream after I'm sweating coming up, and I'm like, get out of my way, little child. So a headlamp, definitely. That should be mandatory no matter where you go. Waterproof matches, a compass, a map. And the maps, I have a really cool Mount Washington map that I'll talk about in a minute. Whistle. The reason you want to whistle is because if something were to happen and you were to get separated from the group, and let's say you got hurt, you fell down. You can't get enough air to yell loud enough to be heard, but it doesn't take a lot of air to blow a whistle. So if you blow a whistle and 3 long blown blows means it's like SOS. It means you're in trouble. Sock liners, well, they go with my socks. Electrolytes or salt replacements, especially if it's going to be a hot day, a first aid kit, sunglasses, sunblock, whatever your medications are. A space blanket. You've probably seen those. They roll up about this big, and when you open them up, it looks like tinfoil. A multi-tool, a towel or a bandana to wipe away your sweat. Hiking poles, definitely a hat or something to cover your head, because with this hike, you are above tree line and the sun will beat down on you for half of the day. And then, hat, camera, watch. And then I always get down to this closed cell pad, which everybody's like, what in holy heck is that? So basically, Thermarest makes this really cute one that folds up like an accordion. Okay. And it's already cut to size. These run about $15. And I'm going to tell you the truth right now, REI is really low on inventory in general. You can get these on Amazon right now from Thermarest. Like I said, $15. Or you go on eBay. This is actually a pad that I bought in my early backpacking days when I thought that a pad this thin would be super comfortable to sleep on. Yeah, it's not. But I got this whole body length pad for $8 on eBay. And what you can do is just cut it and then make this kind of be a liner inside your backpack and put everything else inside of it. So basically the reason you want something like this is, even if it's a warm day, you don't want to sit and like eat your lunch on rocks, because the rocks are going to generally be cold. And in the unlikely event that you get hurt, we need something to put between you and the ground so that the ground isn't sucking the warmth out of you, because that will, well, it'll make things bad. So we don't want that. And then the last thing that's on here is a hike safe card, which I'm going to go into detail. But down here at the bottom, I say, then a pack big enough to carry it all. I would get the stuff first, then get the pack. Okay. Now, when I go on the day hikes I'm doing right now, I carry this. This is 32 liters. Okay. So this is my day pack. This isn't what I take when I go up north. Generally, this is a 45 liter pack. That's what I had on in the picture. Just because if you look at that, what was on the list there, that's a lot of stuff. And you want one that's got, like one of these top hats on them that you can adjust, and pockets. Now, everybody's kind of got their favorite idea of what they want to do. I know one of our hike leaders ordered like 8 backpacks online, tried them all on, put stuff in them, walked around her block to figure out, could she reach things? Were things good? I've kind of been stuck on Osprey packs lately, but I will tell you the truth. If anything that you put on your hips, like snacks, they're kind of far behind, and our arms don't always bend back here. So usually you're asking somebody like, hey, can you get that for me? So that's one drawback on them. But you know, I like them. I think they're good. But then we've had people buy Kelty ones. Colleen, what's Gray Whaley? Was that a Kelty one you bought?
A Gregory.
Oh, a Gregory. Yeah, Gregory's are great too. And I know some people had said you can't go to REI and get fitted. I mean, I wasn't there too long ago and bought that purple one. So you can go in there and torture those poor men, and
Yeah,
they will.
They're now doing fittings.
Now
again.
they're doing letting fittings. Okay.
Yeah.
Because somebody tried to say that, and I was like, geez, a week before I was in and was trying on stuff, but that's great. So again, they have sandbags. They load up the packs for you. They will adjust them for you because packs go by the size of your back. So there's a measurement, whether you're a small, a medium, or a large, and that measurement depends on if you're male or female. That'll make a difference. And they can help you fit that. And if you buy something and you're not 100%, sure, maybe you bought it offline, I guarantee if you come on one of the hikes with us, we'll adjust you, because it'll be like up too high, or it's sitting above your head or something, like, we'll play with all the straps and help you. Another question people asked me was water bottles versus water bladders. I am a water bladder fan, and I have many of these. This is from a company called Platypus. And the only thing that stinks about Platypus is the holes really, really small. Camelbacks, you're paying for the name, and they've got those big discs. The only thing that's cool about Camelback is you can put ice in there. I can't get ice in here unless I crush it. But one thing you can do is you half fill this, put it in the freezer, and in the morning top it off, and you'll have ice cold melty water all day. But I do this because I generally will bring 3 liters of water with me on every hike, because I don't want to run out. So I like these. Some people are absolutely, all they want to do is do water bottles. That's cool. That's fine. Water's water as long as you've got it. But your pack should have a pocket up against your back for one of those to go into, and a little clip at the top so it doesn't slide down on you. So you can go either direction with that, but then also things like electrolytes, Gatorade, you want to bring that stuff too. All right. So like I said, I would start kind of assembling this stuff, and I will tell you the truth, not the headlamp, but there's a lot of these things. If you go to Walmart back in the camping department, you can get a lot of this stuff, like the whistles and the compasses, a lot of that, and it's totally doable. Okay. Now, the reason for things like the first aid kit and whatnot is that kind of the rule of the woods is, if you get hurt, we're going to help you with what's in your pack. I'm not going to give up my space blanket and my closed cell pad and my ace bandages to fix you. So that's because you've got, it's not anybody's being a jerk. It's just, you should bring what you think you might need. So let's say something terrible happens. It's hours before anybody's going to come get you. So that's why you want to be dry clothes, in a space blanket, on a closed cell pad. Maybe you're able to build a fire, maybe you're not. So these are all these, it's a little survival-esque, but again, that's why we do this on a popular mountain on a weekend that there's an event where emergency services are already like there. They're just there. Not like a random Tuesday when who knows what could happen. All right. So in red down there, I had explained to you about the safe card. So the hike safe card, and these are my 2 favorite officers on Northwoods Law, Officer Mike Mancini, Sergeant Lucas, and they're my favorite dudes. I've never met them. I don't want to meet them in the woods because I'm hanging from a tree upside down. But what the hike safe card is it is an insurance card. It's $25. When you go to the New Hampshire Fish and Game site, you print them right out. And what you do is you can print out 100 of them if you want. Okay. So they look like this, and they have your name, what you paid, when you bought it, your address. And then it also gives you a little list. And oh, geez, where'd I get that list from? 10 essential things you should have on a hike. Look at that. A map, a compass, warm clothing, food, a headlamp, matches, first aid, a whistle, rain jacket, and a pocket knife. So you're going to pay them $25, but it's only good for a calendar year. So, but it's totally worth it, because if anything were to happen up there, if you're like, Northwoods Law, what the heck is that? In this area, you've got the fish and game wardens, but then there are so many awesome people up there. And one group is the Pemigewasset Fire and Rescue. I have seen stories and heard stories where, let's say they get word that somebody's lost in the woods. They can usually get 50 people to that area within a half an hour from Pemigewasset. And they're selfless. They go out and they'll just carry you out. Now, if something were to happen and you can't walk yourself out, it takes 30 people to carry one person out down a mountain, because you do it in teams of 6 and you rotate like every 50 steps because it's so tiring. So this $25 that you're going to pay them is your little insurance card to be safe. And like I said, because it's your name and your thing, I print out a ton of these and I put them in like plastic laminating things. And then, so I don't have to think about them, I put them in like every backpack I might use. So in case I'm laying upside down in a tree and they're like, lady, you got one of those cards? I probably have one in the backpack. Now, they also have to write up a report about everything that happens. So they can also make a decision or a determination that you were at fault. If it's legit an accident, I mean, they'll helicopter you off the mountain. But if you were a knucklehead, you'll get charged. And I've seen a ton of stories, but the one that came up about 8 years ago, there was a gentleman from Boston that went up, kind of a smart ass. He, shorts, tank top, had a bottle of water, gonna climb Mount Washington. He had no map, he had a cell phone, and he didn't check the weather. He didn't know the trails. He didn't do any research. And as he got up to that Boulder Field area that I showed you, 2 things happened. A weather front came in and he slipped and fell and broke his leg. He had no backpack. So he calls on his cell phone, right? And he's like, can I get a helicopter to come get me? Seriously, this is what he asked for. And I think it took them 9 hours to get to him where he was. They had guys that came up from here. They had guys that came down from here. They got him up to the top of Washington, and the weather cleared long enough that some crazy butt helicopter pilot went in and took him out, because now he was hypothermic because he had been out in the cold for so long. They basically saved his life. When he was sent the $19,000 bill, he argued it. And they're like, really, dude? Because he was at fault. He wasn't prepared. He had none of the right equipment. He hadn't looked at the weather, nothing. So they'll make that determination, but nothing that, we're going to prepare you for. Would you ever be in a situation where they would be like, knucklehead, we're going to send you the bill for this? So that's the thing. You go up there with enough knowledge so that if something does go wrong, usually there's enough of us around who know how to get the situation under control and kind of be a help. Okay. Resources for us. There is a map that I buy a bunch of these every year. So anyway, and this is pictures of the map. So there's this cartographer in Lincoln, New Hampshire, and he makes these gorgeous maps. And he's done them of like every mountain range up there. It's not that big, right? It's a little bitty thing. But not only does it have all the mountain trails, but on the back it's got history, it's just cool stuff. So if you're interested in one of these, I am more than happy to send one to you. It would be $5. You can do it through PayPal or Venmo, and I will send one to you, unless you think you're going to run into me. If you run into me, then it's $4, and I'll just give one to you. So it's a cool resource because I like all the extra stuff that's on it. The other thing that they're showing you a picture of is this. This is the New Hampshire Bible. So this is the White Mountain Guide, and the White Mountain Guide is sold from the Appalachian Mountain Club, and you get the book, and you can see all my sticky notes of either places I've been or info I'm looking up, and then you get a set of maps, okay, that come with. Now, the only problem, if you want to be a complete geek about it, is the maps that come with it are not waterproof. You have to buy those separately. So you can buy the whole White Mountain set waterproof. So, and that doesn't sound like all that interesting, but when you're out on the trail, if you don't have one of those spiffy map covers that I have one of these that I keep my maps in, they'll disintegrate. So if it's even if it's a hot, sweaty day and you're holding on to it, you open it up and it just crumbles in your hands. So waterproof maps are the best way to go. And then within here, they're going to tell you things like how all the trails connect. And then there's always, they call it book time. And people get really jazzed up about, we're going to beat book time, which is like running a race that I have no interest in. I'm just happy to get up and down and be breathing. So I don't care about book time. But this kind of shows you this whole, how intricate all of this is when you go up there, how many hundreds and hundreds of trails there are that connect to like all over the place. And then there's some places you go to that don't connect at all, and you're like, what? Why can't I get from here to here like in a straight line? But it's just the way the mountains are. So unless you think this is going to become your thing, I mean, you certainly, don't go to the expense. I think the sets are $30, and we're up to the 30th edition right now. And you can actually buy these up there at the Appalachian Mountain Club, because we'll be on the side of the mountain right by what's called the Highland Center. Highland Center is awesome. The Highland Center is like, it's like going to the mothership. It's a cool place to stay. If you're an AMC member and you stay there, they have a gear room. You can borrow whatever you want. It's a great place to go in the wintertime because there's so much snow up there. And you're like, I don't know about this snowshoeing up the mountains thing. You borrow their snowshoes. You borrow all kinds of stuff from them. So that's one of the cool perks. But they also have a cool gift store. You can decide to buy it there. If you also buy a membership, you get a discount on things. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was, so Seek the Peak. This was last year's event poster. And Eastern Mountain Sports, and see how it says the Mount Washington Auto Road also sponsors it? It's because the Mount Washington Auto Road is actually, it's a private road owned by a family. It's not like a state road. So the guys that drive the vans and the fact that you pay $30 a person to drive up it and stuff, that's this family keeping track of the road, just like the Cog Railway is owned privately. That's a private business that owns that too. So Seek the Peak is this fundraiser that they do because the Mount Washington Weather Observatory, also not a government agency, it's a private agency. So they have to raise money every year to do their thing. I've done Seek the Peak since 2009. And back then, so this is my 2009 Seek the Peak shirt. And we got long sleeve t-shirts then and some goodies. But over time, they kind of got a little spiffy. And so like this was 2016s. I liked this shirt. I thought this was cool. And then they started getting cool and making them out of, you know, Techwick stuff. So it would vent and stuff. So last year's, the one that went with last year's event was this one. Okay. Now it's a fun collector thing. Do I have them all since 2009? Yes, because I'm a geek. But they also, if you're a donor of $300 or a fundraiser of $300 or more, you get the shirt. And a couple of years ago, they also gave you these backpacks that are all embroidered and stuff. I have never worn this. I'll use it for something, but I don't. At least for me anyway, it's kind of short. I think if I wore it, it'd look like a kid pack. And Eastern Mountain Sports provides these. And then last year they gave away these other ones that were Copaxi, and they're all brightly colored and they're kind of crazy, but they fill them with stuff. And then on Saturday night, there's a turkey dinner at the bottom of the Mount Washington Auto Road, and they give away more prizes. And I'm not hawking my stuff, but I make these fleece line bandana thingies. And so I've been doing business with them for a while because I make ones that say Seek the Peak, and they give these away as to the people who are high fundraisers. So it's a fun event. And before I had a deeper interest in the mountains, I would go and do it and do the events and go to the dinner and everything. I haven't been in a while, but I still donate. I still pay the $300 every year to them. So I guess technically it's a $300 t-shirt, but I've gotten the chance to, like, if you're part of the Seek the Peak, and it's going to run virtually again this year. It's not going to be a real event. Like last year, they had to do the same thing. But in years past, if you were a Seek the Peak person, you got to the top, you could take a tour of the weather observatory with the weather guys, who, you want to talk about science geeks. These guys are funny, but they want to show you all the dials and whistles. And you always see that really iconic round tower thing. You get to climb up in there, and that's where all the wind sensors are and stuff. And they show you on there the meter where they measured the highest wind gust ever of 248 miles an hour that they logged up there. So anyways, geeky fun guys. So it's something, if you want to know more about it, just ask me and I'll tell you what the scoop is. I'll probably donate again this year and get my 18th t-shirt or whatever. But I just think it's a worthwhile. Chrissy Frazier, the girl who runs it, is cool. They've got a neat museum down in North Conway where you pick up your goodies. It's actually a very cool museum and gift shop. So it's just another part of the local legend up there. All right, so I kind of put together what I thought would be a good progressive hike list. And right now we've already done Ragged, we've done Macedonia, we've done Peoples. Mount Tom was this past Saturday. And I did Sleeping Giant the weekend before. So these are the ones that I'm trying to like write up for people so you can go on your own. If you aren't available the weekend, I'm offering it. And I will say Seven Sisters is a must do. You have to go do it. Breakneck Ridge, New York, a little bit of a ride. Very fun rock scramble. Bear Mountain out in Salisbury, 100%. You got to go do that one. Greylock in Massachusetts, we are definitely doing in late spring. Equinox in Vermont is one I haven't done, and the only sticking point on it is it's only a 6-mile hike, even though it's like 2,500 feet of vertical, but it's like a 2.5-hour ride to get out there. So I'm not 100% on that one, but a Scutney, oh yeah, a Scutney is a must do. A Scutney is wicked steep. It is about 2.5 hours away, but it's right near Windsor, Vermont, where, is it Harpoon? Is it Harpoon or is it not Hooker? It's Harpoon Brewery.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, we have to stop there. How sad. But they have really good food there. And there's also this little complex. You can get maple ice cream. You can play badminton. It's really a fun place to go. And then usually what we do is we try to wrap up all the training in late June by going up to Monadnock. So Monadnock is not a 4,000 footer. It is in southern New Hampshire. It's a big old pile of crappy rock, but it gives you a good idea of what the trails are going to be like and what it's like to hike on rock all day, as opposed to our squishy, soft, really sweet looking kind of things. So that's usually what we kind of, that's the crescendo of stuff. I keep thinking of other ones to do, and these in my brain are like every other weekend. What I did was I worked backwards from July 17th and kind of like spaced things out. So it's not like this is all you're going to do for like 4 months, but if you can hit most of these, you know, you'll be in good shape. But I would also recommend a weighted pack and climbing a lot of stairs. Squats, deadlifts, you know, anything that you can do to strengthen your legs. It would like make your life totally a better day that day. And like I said, I'm trying to write these up and get them put out so that you can deal with them, you know, virtually. But I do know, see, we're still stuck in COVID, even though they've made some decisions on some things that I don't know that I 100% agree with. Like I know for me, I work as a teacher. They're sending kids back to school full time, all of them in 2 weeks, because now 3 feet is safe. Before we had to be 6 feet. Now all of a sudden 3 feet's okay. We're a little questioning this one, but we're still under those auspices. So we are still very, very limited to how many people we can take on hikes. But like I told people in the last call, I was like, the woods are free. Wink, wink. You know, I'm putting out on a public site where I'm going to be on a certain day. If you just, oh, look who showed up. Gosh, you guys are here. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. Not that I'm going to, you know, be a jerk or anything, but I'm just saying, if you're like, I can't get on this hike, I'm 82nd on the wait list, you know, whatever. Also, if you just contact me and just say, I am dead serious about doing Mount Washington, I'll be more than happy to have you come, honestly. So, you know, it's just sometimes I get the people who, you know, they show up once, they show up twice, they do something weird, and then I never see them again, but I gave them a spot, and, you know, I don't know, it's kind of strange. Also, if you're interested in anything, you know, you want to like read up on the area, this is always a good one, Not Without Peril. And it's basically the history of this whole area. And when you see places like Crawford Notch or Joe Dodge, it tells you who all these people are and everything, but not to be a spoiler or anything, but like everybody dies in the book. So I'm just saying, it's basically everybody who's died on Mount Washington. The other one that's a super cool, this one by Ty Gagney, Where You'll Find Me. This woman was a mountaineering person who unfortunately passed away up there despite the best efforts of Fish and Game. And you know, it's an interesting discussion about goal setting and also about how you make decisions and when you make them, to either turn around, to stop, or whatnot. I will say that 100% the deal is weather. Weather is always the determination. Any story I've ever read with anybody that had a bad situation up there, it is 1000% the weather. So a lot of people asked, well, do you cancel if it rains? Do you do this or that? The weather up there changes so quickly. There's been trips that we just sort of said, you know, come heck or high water, we're just going. We're just going to do it. And whatever it is, it is. And we've gotten there and the weather's completely changed. Like we were packing the rain gear, we're packing the fleece and everything, and then we carry all this stuff. It's almost like a weird like talisman. Like if we carry all the rain gear, it won't rain. And we've had that happen. We've had days where all of a sudden the sun comes out and we don't get a drop of rain all day. But then I've had it happen the other way too. So I'm gonna watch two things as we get into like June moving into July. First thing I want to know is if the place up in the top at the summit is going to be open. This is important for a couple of things. Bathrooms, refilling your water. And I know last year, the crew that went up, it was so bizarre because it was sunny. It was gorgeous down in the valley. I didn't go up Washington last year. I went up Cannon, across the ridge, over on another ridge, and we had a beautiful day. It wasn't windy, nothing. These poor guys got up on the top. Liz was there at like 45, 50 mile an hour winds blowing, and just a crazy day. And they had no shelter because they had shut down everything up there. So I'm going to want to know that way before we go. So whenever you make reservations, know what your cancellation policy is. So you can make a decision. And I would hate to have somebody make a decision so super early, but if that's your cancellation policy and you can't think of anything else to do and you're scared about the weather, unfortunately, it's one of those things where I have people cancel on my local hikes. If there's like a chance of a shower, this wouldn't be the event for you. Because like I said, the weather changes. It goes from hot, cold, sunny, windy, snowing, rain, who the heck knows? So I want to know what our coverage is on the summit. And then I also want to know, I'll start watching the weather 2 weeks out, like July 1st or the end of June. And I watch the high mountain forecasts off the Mount Washington Weather Observatory. And you just have to be patient. You just watch. And even if, let's say you start watching Monday for Saturday and it says something crappy, don't lose your mind. Just be patient. Just watch. Because stuff, like I said, there's just the way Washington is, there's weather that comes up this way, and they collide on top, and it's weird. So we'll watch it. And if it starts to really look like there's a solid front coming in Thursday, Friday, Saturday or something, that's certainly your call to make. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the scoop is, because stuff up there generally doesn't hang around for more than a day. So if adjustments can be made, we might, if that's the deal. The other thing that I'm hoping for is that over the course of the training hikes, a couple of people kind of emerge as they want to help out. They want to, I'm not putting the burden of saying, I need you to lead the Mount Washington hike this year, but I'd like to, I'm hoping a couple of people kind of are like, yeah, I get this, or people who have experience that, think they want to do it. Over the years, Tony McDonald, Roy Sabo, were guys who just hiked with me here in the state, and they went on the Mount Washington trip with me and got hooked, and then became leaders. And both Roy and Tony have sort of taken it over for me the last 3 years, 4 years maybe. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just hoping. I've had one person kind of volunteer and say, I'd be more than willing to help. But it'd probably be good if we had a couple of people that were feeling confident. And I am more than happy to work with anybody on any of this kind of stuff, because whether or not people know it, not only are we like first aid trained and we know the trails, but we have contingency plans. We've got, if this happens, where do we go? What are our bail points? How do we exit? So there's a lot of mechanics that go to it that on a great sunny day with no injuries and no issues, they never come up. But if anything gets yucky, we usually have a plan already predetermined before we go out. So that being said, so the last thing I'll bug you about, so this is for the 4,000 footers. There are 48 of them in Vermont. There's 48 of them in New Hampshire. There's 5 in Vermont. There's 14 in Maine. There's some more in New York, but that's a different list. So what ends up happening to you is you go up, you do Washington, people ask you to do a couple others, you do some in the winter, now you're up to like 10 or 11, and then you just keep going. And then you meet some other friends that say, well, I need these, and you follow them around like ducklings, and then you're up to 20, and then you have 25, and then you get to like 30. And then you get goofy like me and you get to 39. So I have 9 left to finish. It would be a shame if I didn't finish. So the same day that the Washington trip is running, I am going to drag a hearty bunch of friends and possible volunteers. See all the way down on the left, that thing that says Musalaki, that's my last one. The other 8 we're going to do over May and June. So that's why we're kind of having a Saturday night gala for everybody's successes, because most of the people that are going to go do Musalaki need it for their list anyway. Some other people are going to do it because they're just really nice and they want to help me celebrate. So we got a crew doing Washington. We've got a crew going to Musalaki. We're going to meet at the New England Inn and whoop it up on Saturday night. So any of this kind of stuff, if there's anything you would like to know about more than, than what I shared, please, you can ask it now. You can get in touch with me. Colleen's been putting in the chat my email address. Just title it Mount Washington so I don't lose you in all my spam or something. But if you feel like, you're cool, you want us to have the information, I even get people who will, like, they'll start and do the training thing, and then maybe partway into it, they're like, I don't think so. Or we take you up a Scutney and you're like, holy guacamole. I'll tell you the truth, a lot of hiking failures are mostly up here. Hiking's about 60% mental. And if you believe you can do it and you kind of power through it, I think that's awesome. And there's a couple of quotes about when you hike with people, you bond through the misery. So, which makes it so pleasant. But you've got these really great shared stories of crazy things that have happened. And I know the great people that have gone on these big events with me, we've got some crazy fun stories about how the day went, how things happened and whatnot. So it's a very good time. Or even if you just think, I would like to just sort of get in shape and I'm going to follow along and see how I do, that's awesome too. You can certainly do that. But like I said, I just sort of feel like a pay it forward kind of thing. There's a gentleman that leads a meetup group called the Random Hikers in Boston. And he was nice enough, 10 years ago, after being up on Washington and I knew what I was getting into, I winter hiked the Hancocks with him and his group. Oh dear God, I don't know why they just didn't leave me there to die. But he's become an awesome resource, and he's very much a pay it forward kind of person. So I can always reach out to him and say, I need some help with this. What do you think about that? Because he has done all the 4,000 footers in every season. He's also done all of the New England ones, which are the 67, and he's started working on ones in Colorado, the 14,000 footers. So he's a neat guy, he and his wife. So I am happy to answer any questions if anybody has. If you're like, nope, I think I got it right now, and I'll just look forward to hikes, you can certainly do that. If you want to be on the list, I'll just keep emailing you out stuff. Like I said, my crazy little paper handout, which actually has some links in it. We found some good resources from REI about buying a pack, packing a pack, something to do with sizing your pack. It was something Tony Mack found that I included. And there was something else I put in. on the electronic version, but it's not on the one you guys looked at on the site. It's something I just added. So I can send those out. I will send out Ragged Mountain because I finally got that one written up. And then I'm working on the rest of that list as far as what I'm trying to do. Alrighty. So if anybody wants to know anything, let me know. Otherwise, you're like, I am all Janist out. I just want to think about this now. Okay?
You gonna take us out with a Cher song?
I'm not going to take you out with a Cher song, but I will